Appreciate you
Oh,
coming on.
thank you very much.
Donna's a
Good. This
big
is
fan.
excellent.
I am a big fan. I've
Really
seen
appreciate it.
you're welcome. I've seen every episode more than once, and I started the season last year. So a lot of my time is watching a lot of episodes of Naked and Afraid. A
Oh,
lot.
right on. Excellent. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm actually very much in the same boat. So I actually started out as, well, I guess you'd say a super fan. Um, I reasonably would say I've seen it every episode at least 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Like if it's on, it's just like it's on in the background. So it's like I could tell you who people are just by their voices for crying out loud. It's like almost can identify people by their backsides, but that might be a little weird.
Now there are a couple, that you can tell by their tattoos on their back. Consume as
Absolutely.
little as possible. That's a dead
That's an easy
giveaway.
one.
Yeah. So,
Joe, let
go
me
ahead.
ask you. I hate to butt in, but since you're a survivor, man. Let me ask you. Do movies like 127 hours make you angry? Do you sit there and you go, you know what? That guy, what does he know?
Okay, so for entertainment purposes, yeah, the movies are great. I don't mind them. They're a little overdone, and honestly, like, okay, so I don't know a lot of factual stuff about every movie, but a lot of the stuff I believe is done for entertainment purposes. Makes it a little more interesting. You want to involve the audience, get them to care about the character. Uh, yeah, I mean, if it's literally just somebody stuck there, you don't hear about their thoughts or like what they're visioning, stuff like that. Yeah, it'd be boring. The audience would just be like, okay, so we're waiting here for this dude to pass out, and like, nah. So in certain things like that, I don't think they're as accurate as well, let's just say I don't particularly care for them much. I have the bad habit for picking apart movies, like just far too often.
Oh, so
I,
does Robert. So does Robert. We do this on Thursdays for Real Sharks podcast. Like we will nitpick every movie ever, always.
most
So
excellent.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
yes.
constantly get yelled at for doing it. It's just I can't help it.
Yeah, so does he.
Oh man.
He's ruined me on a few movies.
Dude, you,
Right
you
on.
gotta be real. You gotta be real about it.
Oh, absolutely.
And you gotta be real about ridiculous things. I was just talking about the other day, the new Transformers movies. They were like, was it good? I said, honestly, I would have preferred if it was Mark Wahlberg that absorbed to be a robot and he got huge and then was fighting the robots, like
Right
like
on.
Voltron style. I was like, I would watch that more, but I don't get my wishes all the time, you know what I mean?
It's all good, man.
So why don't you tell us why you wanted to be on Naked and Afraid? You said you started out as a super fan.
Okay, so again, we're going back about 10 years now. Love the show. So the very first episode I saw, no, let me go back before that. The very first time I heard about the show, so when you hear the words naked and afraid, personally, when I hear of a TV show, it sounds goofy to me in my head. I'm like, I picture this cartoon kind of just something over the top, like a silly kind of sitcom type thing. I had no idea it was actually survival until I saw the commercials and started watching it. So very first episode I got to see, it was Shane and I can't for the life of me remember his partner's name. Uh, but anyway, so that apparently wasn't the first episode that was ever filmed. It was actually EJ and Kelly Neitlinger were the first ones. But because what was it, a fer de lance bit the producer in that episode with Shane, yeah,
Yeah.
that's why that one went first.
Yeah, they took that one out because it was so dangerous. I remember reading about that one.
Steve Rankin, I believe was the guy's name,
Yeah.
executive producer at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, so when I first saw that, it's like it immediately grabbed my attention. So it's like I wasn't really so much worried about like the story element of it, because at the time, all you had was like a Survivor Man and I think Man vs. Wild. It's like that; those were your options as far as survival shows. Um, Not bad in their own rights, but it's just if you want to learn about something, just pull up YouTube type now. Like get a tutorial on something. You watch these shows for the characters, like the human element type thing. And that I believe is really what drew me in. It's like people talk about the whole naked aspect of it. You know, you might think about it at first, but it's just like you get a couple seconds to you realize it's like there is so much other stuff that takes priority. It's like you don't even care you're naked. So, and that's kind of like how the show is to watch. It's just there's so much going on. It's like I don't even notice anymore. It's just like it's a regular TV show to me.
Yeah. Oh no, you notice it, you're naked when you're cold, like when they do the XL Frozen. That you may care about. The pelts can
Yeah.
only keep you warm so well.
Uh, it really, really wasn't bad. And I hate to downplay it, but it's like a little background about myself. I actually teach cold weather survival. My home base here is around the Pocono Mountains here in Pennsylvania. So it was familiar. It was certainly more difficult than what I'm used to because it's a change in elevation by about, I think we're up around like 8,000 feet. My highest down here is maybe 2,000 at tops. But as far as the weather goes and the temperatures, you know what? Just I was comfortable. Maybe because, oh gosh, it's hard to even break down. So it's weird to say because both times I was in Montana, so I get a little jumbled when I'm trying to talk about different stories. Um, so which one you want to do first?
Let's
Like,
do with the pelts because we will talk about Sam maybe later.
oh my goodness. All right, I knew that was coming.
And
Okay, so
she was her own unique woman.
yeah, amen.
We'll put it there.
So it's kind of funny though, because both challenges I had pelts. Uh, so let's go to Frozen first. Let's start out on something kind of cool.
Yeah,
So
I really did enjoy that one because you had more hair and it was purple,
you know, it was crazy because the strangest thing is, it's like, and I did this for the first challenge too. The reason I had my hair so long and I had it dyed, just in the off chance I was near any kind of fresh water source there to be able to go fly fishing. Yep,
Okay.
was not able to. Just for whatever reason, did not have any kind of cordage or lines the first time out, and the second time is just, well, it wasn't moving water; it was a still frozen lake. So, might not have been the best idea, and I wasn't about to part with my hair then.
Well, I mean, it's a good
I
idea.
hear that.
Yes, I
I'm gonna
definitely
have to
believe it.
I'm gonna have to remember that one. That was almost as good as I can't remember his name, the one that ate tomatoes before he left and then
Yep,
made they made the tomato gardens.
yep, that was Dan Link. He is absolutely brilliant. I've gotten to talk to him quite a bit over the past few years. Really, really genuinely a good guy.
He is. He was in this latest episode, wasn't he? Naked
Hmm.
and Afraid, Last One Standing. I
Yep,
was that one tore at my heartstrings a little bit.
that truly was an emotional show.
Yes.
From start to finish. I mean, I can imagine how it was perceived by a fan to get to see, but just it's very different when you know these people on like a personal level, or at least have spoken to them and have some kind of communication. It's just imagine this, if you will. Um, take a loved one, a family member, a close friend, something like that. Put them in that kind of environment, give them clothes, whatever. But now let's cover them in like 1,000 bug bites, but with no relief whatsoever. I mean, they're going to be in absolute agony.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Like I know Jeff had to do what he had to do to try and win that money.
mhm.
He could have
So,
went about it a little bit better way, sharing some things, but he was right, and I'm gonna get hate for this.
What are you why are you
There
lying to the man? We have been cut. This is my kin here, Joe. Just so you know, we grew up together in the woods in Kansas. We were covered in bug bites, mosquito bites all day long. I've seen this one, basically,
right on. But but truly though, it's really really rough when you see your like friends or people you're emotionally vested in suffering. It
Yeah, and
just
there's nothing you can do to help them.
no, not a thing in the world. And obviously it's been taped several months ago. But I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
to see actual people you have a connection with, just truly, in agony and suffering, it makes the show proceed very differently.
Yeah, and
Um,
then it takes a lot for them to like at the end, Steve and Jeff worked their things out, and I'll have to say Steve is one of my biggest ones, I mean so are you, but I mean I've seen all of these episodes and Steve is an outstanding man. And for him to be like, listen, I know you're playing the game because it's a game and I still love you. That took a lot. Like he didn't show the hate towards him. He understood what he was doing and still loved and respected him. And I'm hoping even after the show is over with, like they still have that connection afterwards. Um, do you have any of those connections still with some of the cast members that you were with on both these episodes?
Sort of. So every so often I'll like a post or comments and stuff like that back and forth with people, either a production team or maybe people I've seen out there. Um, Mostly though, I really speak with people frequently that I've never filmed with before. And it's kind of a bizarre thing because like the closest relationships I have are through the Naked and Afraid experience, but not actually people who I filmed with. It's just yeah, it's kind of weird to bring that up too. You know, that was something I've always wanted. Like when I first came onto the show, I'm thinking to myself, you know, that right there is the experience that I want. I almost need it. You hear about people staying up late nights. It's like, you know, the cameras are all gone, or not, or the camera crews and whatnot are gone. And you know, it's just the two or three people or however many it is, you know, and they're at their most raw, basic, you know, bare bones form, and they're just talking, you know, whether it be about their family history or, you know, maybe how they felt types things. It's just as true to them as they could possibly be. There's no need for, you know, characters at that point. You know, it's like all your walls are broken down. You probably haven't slept in a while. You know, again, you're probably almost starving, completely emaciated. I mean, just so much is going on. It's just you don't have the energy to be a fake individual. I mean, everything that you're doing and presenting yourself, it's oftentimes very true. And it's those stories around the fireside, I say, you know, fireside,
Yeah.
you know, that's what I always wanted. You know, it's just I wanted that like special connection. You can say it's like out of like the 7, 8 billion people in the world, however, you know, many there are, it's like, you know, you and maybe a handful of other people can say you've shared that experience. You know, and that to me is like a really, really powerful notion. I wish I had that connection. You know, I truly adore Gabby and Kai. Please don't misinterpret what I'm
No,
trying to say.
no, Gabby and Kai, I love those two. I
But
was not expecting Gabby to jump in after that fish.
nor was I.
And Robert's
But
over here looking at us like, what the two are you talking about? He doesn't watch
yeah,
Naked and Afraid as much as
uh,
No,
I
I've
do,
watched it. I've watched it.
okay.
but
I've
not
watched
as
it.
much as
Yeah,
I
but
have.
No, of course not.
yeah,
No,
like the
I do have a question for Joe though, but we'll wait till after he's done with his story.
Sure. Like I believe like both Kai and Gabby, they had a beautiful relationship. You know, they've created like a wonderful friendship together. And to me, it's just like, you know, I just something just didn't quite click, I suppose. I mean, there was no drama whatsoever, no arguments, no hostility. I mean, it was a truly great, you know, working partnership. But it's like something deep down always reminds me. It's like, you know, just like, 'cause I remember a specific episode. It was Jeremy McKay and Mel. Um, they had something truly amazing. Um, I don't think it's been duplicated since, and I can't recall a time before that that I've seen a partnership truly that genuinely
Amazingly,
close. You know, it's
yeah.
just it wasn't just survival because it's like afterwards, it's like they had such a unique bond, a strong one together. It just they knew each other's families. It's just they were so it was the closest thing to a sibling, you know, kind of like relationship that I've ever seen. Like it was so organic, you know, like it was I wish I had that with someone. You know, just that was my biggest like regret of leaving out there from Frozen because it's just like I don't know that I really had that opportunity to really kind of put myself out there, you know, and just say this is me, what do you think kind of thing. I
Yeah.
was strangely enough, and this is kind of embarrassing, and I hope the two of them don't hear this, but you know, I was actually for the most part really starstruck the entire time. I felt very well, for lack of better words, I didn't feel like I measured up to the two of them. They've accomplished far, far greater things than I, and I felt like I was just trying to play catch up the entire time. And I don't believe at any time, you know, they treated me differently. You know, they didn't give me any reason to believe that. That was me in my own head kind of thing. It's like I felt like I needed to prove myself, I suppose. Yeah.
I get that. Um, so would if you were offered to do another one, would you go back and do another Naked and Afraid?
Oh, they wouldn't even have to like finish the sentence. I'd already be in the car before they hung up the phone. No question about it. No, it's
That
just it is the only type of scenario that you can actually have that kind of thing happen. Well, without getting arrested, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, but it
I was
truly
just
is.
gonna ask you, Joe, what should I do if I am found naked and afraid?
Hope you're recording it on your diary camera.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you have the little shells to record your audio.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's funny too because these little pennant things they have. I really wish not just the microphone and recording stuff, but I really wish they had like a GPS or something like that, or if we wore like a wristband or something, you know, so they could monitor, you know, our vitals or something goofy like that, you know, kind of give the fans something extra to look at too.
that's an idea to take to the producers. Like, I mean, weren't you tapped because your heart rate was elevated and stuff, but that was just something you normally had?
It
Maybe
is. So
if they could have
yeah,
tracked that the whole time, maybe you wouldn't have been tapped.
it would have been nice, but
Yeah.
again, you know what? They're just doing their job. I don't fault them for it. It's
Oh no,
just
yeah.
it
Yeah.
was rough. Yeah, I normally stay anywhere from 100 to 105. That is my normal baseline for the last 40 some years. Uh, yeah, that's just how I like perfect blood pressure. O2 saturation is perfectly normal. Blood sugar is great. They checked my thyroid. That was fine. Cholesterol's great. I mean, I run a 712 mile, so I mean, I feel pretty good about it.
You do better than
But
I
no,
do.
no,
Okay.
heart rate, extremely anxious being up there. And I told him this repeatedly. It's just like, you know, I hated the constant med checks. I understand the safety protocols they had, but it's just like that to me was more stressful than anything else out there. It was terrible. Like
Yeah,
I could
that's gonna
feel my,
set it off anyway.
I could literally like, feel my heart like pounding as soon as like the producers and like everybody was coming in. And it's just like that. As soon as I saw the medic walk down the hill with Dave's story, it's just like my heart probably was like in the 150s. It was just insane because I knew something was about to happen. I didn't know what, but something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, no time whatsoever to kind of calm down, tell you what's going on. No, they like she stuck this monitor thing on my finger, and she's like, nope, that was the end of it.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm not thrilled, but you know, it is what it is.
Maybe you can come up
So
with your own show. Maybe do something like Naked and Afraid, but not Naked and Afraid because copyright issues or whatever. But something along those lines of teaching those like me that's not a survivalist that is going on her first backpacking trip in the end of the month. You know, just stuff like that.
yeah,
I
I
know.
tried the YouTube thing, doing stuff like that, but it's just I really don't think I'm very good in front of the camera. I suppose it's like if I get really
You
nervous,
look
and this is
good
something.
here.
Right.
Yeah, so this is something that actually never showed on TV. You guys are actually getting a little bit of it right now. So whenever I get really anxious or kind of nervous or just in any kind of unfamiliar scenarios, I get like a little bit of a speech stutter almost. It's very well, a little embarrassing. That's why you
You're
see me
good.
pausing. Like I
It,
pause a lot because I'm trying to kind of, you know,
slow down and think of the words you want to say and how to pronounce them before it comes out of your mouth.
right. And it doesn't always work so well. It's kind of like babble. So I'm really thankful they didn't show that on TV. It's a little something I really struggle with.
If you go back and look at some of our Real Sharks podcast episodes, you'll see me stutter because I'm the exact same way. I don't do cameras, but I am trying to overcome it. And you were actually my first interview, so I
Oh,
appreciate you
oh, very
being my
cool. Okay,
first.
very nice. Most
Right?
excellent.
Joe,
Well, I hope I can make it memorable.
how often do you go out and practice your survival techniques?
No, I will be as true to you. At best, weekends just with my kids. It's not something I do on a regular basis unless I know
Hmm.
I'm doing something or if a class is coming up. As far as book studies go, I'm still very heavily like enthused in that. I mean, between articles, magazines, I mean, you want to name it like, you know, my YouTube subscription list is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the actual practical application of it, I feel personally comfortable with it, but that's not something that you retain like unless you practice on a daily
Right.
basis. I do believe where I'm at personally, that's something I could pick up very quickly. Just it just comes down to several years worth of just consecutive doing stuff. Just really, I had nothing better to do. I saw something on TV. I thought, you know what, how hard could it possibly be? And well, truly, I found out the hard way.
I was
But
gonna say you found
but
out.
Have you ever seen
I did.
something you couldn't explain out in the woods?
Not so much that I saw, but what I heard was a little strange. Um,
Interesting.
Again, it's like, you know, when you're there at night, you never really know what's around you because I mean, obviously they have your night vision cameras, you know, it's they can see what's going on, I suppose. But you've got maybe a 5, 10 foot, you know, like in front of you, and then it's just pitch blackness everywhere. So something in Montana, first time out, was moving around the campsite. No idea what it was at all. Um, Now, being a bow hunter, like I feel confident, say I can identify when something's got at least four, you know, limbs, you know, walking around. Like that's a very distinct versus like a two-legged, you know, person walking around trudging. I believe anyway, there's a difference in sounds. Um, you know, who knows? I might just be BSing right there, but I think there's a difference.
No, there's a difference.
So,
It's like I can tell you my neighbor's car just by them driving by because they have a personal sound. Everything has something different.
Right, right. Okay. So at some point, maybe around like day, okay, it would have had to be like 14, 15, something like that, because Sam was already gone. Um, as much as we did bicker, she did kind of calm me down and type stuff. She was far more. She was ready to go out and strangle something. I'm there, just like let's stay here and kind of let's get the fire going. No, very very different survival tactics there. But when she was gone, though, it's like literally, I don't know if it was in my head or if there was something truly around the camp that was just kind of curious. But I swore, and I can't prove it, and there's no video as far as I know. It sounded like there is definitely a two-legged something in my very near vicinity where I could hear it, like, on a regular basis. Now, whether or not that was production messing around, I'll never know. But that really did freak me out because it's like I couldn't explain it. Like if I can see something, just no big deal. I don't care. But if you can't, again, it's like, your mind's kind of like wondering. It's like, okay, what, did I just hear something?
Right.
Was that,
It's
Yeah.
interesting.
it's the craziest thing ever. And being in complete isolation out there, like really, you have nobody to, reassure you, I suppose. It's like, you don't have the security blanket either, or somebody
Hmm.
else.
So
It's
Joe,
wild, but
Joe, you
oh,
obviously
go ahead.
you do this because you cherish life. The survival is all about cherishing every moment you have. So how do you feel towards people that are, so to say, thrill junkies, people that just go out there and just do everything they can to just get that heart pumping and racing? Would you say, hey, go out in the woods and try to build a fire with your bare hands, that's a real thrill?
Okay. So let me do this in two parts here. So if you're just talking about thrill seekers, adrenaline junkies, that's obviously going to be different for everybody. But I don't believe you need to be a risk taker in order to still get that adrenaline rush. So I mean, nothing wrong with it. Some people want to drive, really fast or, jump out of planes or, whatever, that's their thing. Awesome. Good for them. Other people truly just get that rush out of being able to do something that they can say, not many other people can do. Whether that means you're talking about, building a fire in the woods, like friction fire,
Right.
uh,
That primal
or
raw feeling.
right, or whatever it may be. I mean, just, that feeling is going to be very unique to every individual. You know what I mean? But yeah, absolutely. If you can find something that gets your heart racing, that you truly enjoy and like you're passionate about, go right ahead. And just to add to that, it doesn't matter what other people think of it, because if it really brings you enjoyment, you know what? You ain't hurting anybody. Go for it. If it makes you happy and it makes you smile, just you deserve that kind of happiness. You know what I mean?
I totally
Yeah,
agree with that.
Hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just there's no sense in being judgmental about it because I mean, it's like, what does it really do for you anyway? It's like somebody wants to rub a couple of sticks together. You know what? Say whatever you want to them. If the grid goes down, they're going to be warm.
exactly.
Or
You
dress
know.
up like Darth Vader and go running through Death Valley at 128-degree heat, because that is what John Rice did. So what would you say to that
Awesome.
guy, Joe?
I'd say he was probably very wealthy by this point.
Very nice. Oh yeah, he's all over the internet right now about this. He just did this too. It's like an annual run this guy does. Dresses up like Darth Vader
Hmm.
and runs this mile in Death Valley.
No,
That is
thank you.
insane. No, nope, nope.
No,
The-
no, no.
Oh, that has
I
got to be my Achilles heel of all things. The heat. It's just I have zero tolerance to heat. I can't take it.
see. I
Um,
have zero tolerance to cold, but I can deal with the Kansas heat.
gotcha. Yeah.
I'm a desert
Uh,
dweller.
Yeah,
uh,
you are. He used to live here, and he won't come back because it snows.
oh man,
Yeah.
I am very very happy with the snow. Uh, yeah. I mean, just like funny thing, people say, how do you get ready for, Frozen? Like, I had 2 days notice on that thing. So there was no prep time. There was no, walking around in snow. There was no, just any of that whatsoever. Like, I didn't even get a chance to gain any kind of weight for this thing. So that was wild. But just, yeah, my saving grace, honestly, really was because it was, again, in Montana.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, dude, we flew in there that morning. It was 7 degrees when I got off that plane. It actually
No.
warmed up to 22, like you saw in the episode.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thinking about cold makes me hurt.
Oh, no, no, no. You don't know hurt until you hear this. So, day one, insertion when we first get there. The whole sequence where everybody disrobes, they show
Yeah.
everybody doing that. Well, as soon as I took my boot off and went to go flat foot after I got my sock, well, the ground was covered in snow, so we really couldn't see a whole lot of stuff. So it's just like it's kind of sketchy where we were going to be stepping. Well, I didn't realize that when I stepped down into the snow, there was prickly pear under it.
Oh,
So I got tagged pretty good immediately.
that should
That
have
was
been your sign to be like,
horrible.
yeah, no, never mind.
No, are you nuts? No, no, it's a very cliche saying, but just like honestly, they have to force me to leave. There is nothing in my mind that would ever make me quit. And perhaps there could be at some point, but just I haven't found it yet.
Yeah. And I'm happy that you haven't found that yet. You're still doing your thing, so you
Okay.
were saying that you do your survival stuff just on the weekends with your kids.
Oh, yes, yes. So
What is the one thing you always take with you? Because I mean, you're teaching your kids these survival things. Like, I don't know if you heard about the plane crash where the grandmother taught the kids the survivals and the kids
yep,
survived.
yep.
Yeah.
So, and now this is going to sound a little silly, but honestly, the only thing I typically take with me, and a camera. That's it. We just take some pictures. And
I
if we're
like
going out to
that.
do something specifically, like if I want to teach them something like a skill, then I'll bring like a backpack with different tools and whatnot. But honestly, when we're out there, it's more like, okay, do you want to try this? Hey, check this out. Or hey, look at this. Come, it's more about just being out there and having the memories with them. Just like maybe you come up to our raspberry bush or something. It's like, hey, look at this. Check this out. You can eat these, or they're not ready yet, or look at the leaves, kind of thing. Just so many little tidbits. It just the moments then might not seem that significant, but it's the things they look back on and be like, you know, I don't remember any particular day, but I remember I got to spend a lot of time with dad. And that's
Yeah.
really what I'm aiming for.
Yeah.
It's
And
just like that quality time.
that's why we're taking our girls on a little backpacking trip. We're just spending one night because my girls are 9 and 4, and anything more than that, we're not gonna make it.
See, and that's a beautiful thing though. Truly. And just, it's different for everybody. And if that's what works for you guys, dude, have at it. Have the
Yeah.
best time ever. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's us and a group of friends. We're all going to make those memories together, and it's
Hmm.
something that the girls, because they always want to go camping, they always want to go fishing, they always want to be outdoors and learn. And so
Right.
we're taking them out, and hopefully maybe it's something I can pass down to them, and they can pass down to where it's the
Right.
family little tradition.
See, and that's
You
what got
know,
me started. Yeah,
yeah,
like I did scouts with my dad. I mean, just I hated scouts, absolutely terrible. I didn't like it any bit, but it was time to spend with my dad. Like it was a one-on-one quality time. That's the only
see,
reason I stayed with it for so long.
and at the time I wish the girls could join Boy Scouts because I didn't want to be a Girl Scout. I want to be the one that went camping and learned all that stuff because they didn't teach us that stuff in Girl Scouts. My grandma, you
Hmm.
know is the one that taught me that stuff. I remember one night, I don't remember if Robert was there or not, but I've got pictures of us camping on the lake in Kansas City, and a snake had crawled into the tent, and thank God my grandma was a great shot because she shot that snake between my legs.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, but just the things like that, like I remember that stuff, and I want my kids
Hmm.
to grow up and remember that. Well, me not shooting a snake between their legs, I'm
Oh,
not
right,
that
right,
great of a
right,
shot.
right. No, I hear you.
But
Yeah,
the
see,
stuff that
and
we can all pass down.
absolutely, and that's really really important, because it's not memories you're just going to create now. You're essentially planting that seed in them that have that love of the outdoors or whatever it may be, and potentially they could share it on like, hey, this is what we used to do with grandma, or whatever. It's really important. I don't think a lot of people do that anymore. So many people get so involved in their technology. It's just like, I mean, even looking around, let's say you're going to work or wherever you want, a supermarket. How many people just walking around, are just like buried in their cell phones, just doing whatever as they're pushing a cart or whatnot. And it's just like life is happening around you. It's like, well, what is going on? It's not on the screen. That's not where you're going to find that enjoyment. Put it down and just stop being told what to believe. And just
Exactly.
look up and make your own decisions.
Yeah. And there are times, me and my girls will like, put on YouTube dances and we'll learn a dance together.
Sure,
You
sure.
know, Eventually they'll
No,
get old enough and I'll teach them how to do, Thriller.
right on, right on. Very
um,
cool.
but we've got 9 minutes left, so I wanted to ask you
Oh,
one last question.
oh, okay. That
Uh,
was really quick. Okay. Sure.
what is the nastiest thing that you ever had to eat on either one of those episodes?
Not a thing.
Okay.
I absolutely adored every last thing I ate out there. I
Okay.
did. It was just, yeah, I don't have any gross stories at all. I mean, loved roasting the crickets the first time out. Had fresh raspberries, currants, blueberries, blackberries, choke cherries. Oh my gosh. I mean, the second time around, well, okay, it was kind of gross. We did have plenty of watercress. I absolutely cannot stand watercress. It's gross. That's supposed to be like one of those super healthy food things, but it's just, nope, not for me.
See,
But
I
I mean,
can't do cactus. It's the texture.
mm,
I've tried cactus, can't do cactus. I'm sorry. I tried it.
uh, I would have tried it if we were in a different area. Like the prickly pear that we had were really, really tiny, like biscuit sized.
Yeah.
But I'd noticed over in the camp with Sarah, Waz, and Dan, or not Sarah, Watt and Jake. Yeah,
Jake.
yeah, their pads were like, over the size of like a shoe, like, in diameter. I mean, those things were huge. Those would have been great, but we didn't
Right.
have those.
You didn't have those.
But no, I
You
don't
had the
think there's
baby
anything up.
ones.
Yeah,
Joe, what do you say to those out there who think anybody can just do this?
you can. I absolutely believe anyone can do this, but you have to want to do it. And if you don't know if you can do it, I say try it. Because it's just like anything, whether it's survival or, a job or it's like you had a dream, you were going to do something, you look back, it's like, maybe, I would have done this if I had this chance to do this. Well, don't have those regrets. Take the moments you have now. You don't know if tomorrow's coming or not. It's just time is the one thing you can never get back. Make it count. So if you want to say like, I could do this, okay, show me. Show the world, show yourself. It's just see, if you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else?
I
Right?
like that piece of advice. I had told Robert that I had contacted you, and I told my husband, we both watched
Mhm.
Naked and Afraid together, and I was like, "What's the worst that happens? He reach out and tells me no, or he doesn't reach back at all." And then you message back that yes, I would love to do this, and I happened to be walking into Subway and screamed like a little girl that I got the message, and I was like, "Robert, I gotta call you back. Hold on, I gotta call you back."
Very
But
cool.
yes, thank you so much for coming onto the show tonight. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, it's an
Um,
absolute pleasure. It really was. And truly, you know what? We barely even scratched the surface. I mean, I could go on for hours with different stories with you guys, and I'd be absolutely happy to if you ever wanted to have me back.
oh, I
Absolutely.
would absolutely love to have you back.
Okay.
So, with that being said, thank you guys for watching us on Real Sharks Podcast. I'm Donna, my right hand man, Robert, and our guest, Joe. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.